my name is Naomi, and I highly recommend the Practically Pain-Free Birth course. When I was a first-time mom, I was kind of scared and intimidated about giving birth, even more so because my husband is a missionary, and because of that, we were moving to Davao, Philippines, and I would be having my baby in a foreign country without my mom or my sister or any kind of family support. I saw this course through a Facebook ad. And at first, I was hesitant to buy the course, mainly because my husband was looking at the course too. And he's like, there's no way that this course helps you give birth without pain. I mean, pain and birth are just the way it is. And he thought that the course was a bit of a scam. But I really loved the free session that was given and some of the techniques and things that were given in the free session. And I really wanted to be able to take a birth course that I could watch at my own pace and that I could have access to overseas so that I would have the tools that I felt like I would need to give birth. And in the end, I loved all the tools that they gave me. I loved all the prep stuff that was available and the exact specifications of when to start it. I couldn't do a lot of the prep because I was in a foreign country and a lot of it wasn't available to me, but it was useful for the little pieces that I was able to do. I was also glad I bought the course because it had so much information about how births go, both in hospitals and at home, and all the different things that can sometimes go wrong and the way you can advocate for yourself. That was the biggest part that I learned from this course was how to advocate for myself. It was extremely useful in my situation because in the Philippines, especially in the hospitals, they really don't help women give birth naturally. In their mind, if you give birth vaginally, you should be on an epidural and be taking medications and hopefully you give birth, and if you don't, oh well, we'll give you a C-section. The C-section rate in the Philippines is extremely high, and I really did not want to have a C-section, so I wanted all these tools at my disposal. And this course not only helped me advocate for myself, but it helped me to find a really good doctor in the Philippines who was willing to follow my recommendations and let me give birth the way I wanted to. When I was in the hospital, it was 2021. And because of that in the Philippines, I couldn't have anybody in the room with me. Not my husband, not a doula, nobody. And even the nurses, once they got me into the labor and delivery room, they were like, "Okay, you want an epidural?" And I'm like, "No." They're like, "Okay, ring this bell if you need anything." And they left. And I was basically left alone. But this birth course had prepped me so well that by the time I arrived at the hospital, I only had to be at the hospital about 3 hours before I was actually holding my baby. I had been in labor all day, and the course had taught me so many good different techniques and things that really I hadn't even thought I was in labor. The pain was so mild, and all of it I could handle just through little techniques here and there. I actually went to work that day and went to a meeting and did all my regular activities for the day. And the only reason I went to the hospital was my husband's like, "Why are you still having pains and why are they getting closer together? We really should go to the hospital and get you checked." And when I got to the hospital, and the nurse was like, "Oh, you're probably just in pre labor. You're 3 weeks early. There can't be anything wrong." And I'm like, I don't know. I'm starting to have to actually like visualize and breathe a little bit through some of these contractions. She's like, they're not real contractions. You probably just have a really low pain tolerance. When I finally got checked, she's like, wow, you have a really high pain tolerance. You're 6 centimeters dilated and you're fully effaced. We'll probably be having this baby in the next few hours. You're already in the active stage of labor. She couldn't believe how far along I was because I wasn't making any noise. I wasn't acting like I was in pain. I was still walking around and moving around. I was still answering all of the doctor's questions and all of the nurses' questions. And she just could not believe that I had been in labor this long and was this close to having my baby. And I hadn't been showing any signs of it at all. Once I got into the labor and delivery room, I knew how to advocate for myself and I knew how to manage my pain all on my own through breathing and through visualization techniques. And I very much credit it to what I learned in this birth course. So if you're wondering whether this is something you should go for, I highly recommend it, especially if you were someone like me who is going to be far away from any kind of support or help.